This is my first rotation. It's necessary to understand that there is no need to be afraid. We grab them, show them a grenade, said glory to Ukraine, go out. Offensive guard is generally a cool thing. Previously I studied at the Lusk Pedagogical College as a teacher of music and physical education, but I decided to take a leave of absence and join the ranks of the armed forces. I didn't get into the army, but into the main department of the National Guard of Ukraine, from where I observed the beautiful work of our rapid response brigade, where I later transferred to perform combat missions in the east. Life in positions is an extreme thing, I would say so. You're sitting in a trench, looking at the sky, what white clouds are there, then a quadricopter appears which can throw you all kinds of tricks. Life in the trenches is an extreme thing. You can go to the position for 2-3 days and not sleep at all, because you are interested in it, you want to support your brothers, you're always there listening to everything. Someone can show +1 in the trenches and you should already equip yourself. The equipment takes literally 3-4 seconds and you are already running to the position to support him with fire, all help to load cartridges. My comrades are people on whom I can rely not only in civilian life, but under any extreme conditions. We can go, for example, I'll get hurt and I'm sure the friend who found me will put me out. I can stand side by side with him in a trench, take intense fire on the enemy and not even say anything to him at all. And he will already be equipping ammunition or helping me in firing. That is, this is the person you rely on above all else, because if not for him, no one else will help you in the trenches. My brothers, I think, are exemplary professionals in their field, who know everything without words and they will do everything the way it should be done. That's all. Well, you don't have to tell them anything, everything will be done as it should be. Just as we were moving out of position, there was a sense of dread and death as it was decided to rotate us closer to lunch. We went out, the enemy was already firing intensively at us, we divided into groups of 2-3 men and went out one by one. My comrade in arms and I were the last ones in position, before the boys came to replace us. We went out in a group of 2 people, myself and Grinch. There was a pit 10 meters from us, and an 82mm mine flew there just at that moment. It's only a miracle that it didn't cause us any injuries. We are very lucky. When we lose a soldier in a position, we can no longer help him. We know he's already dead. At this time, we are not captured by fear, because we already know that any emotion can have a bad effect on our comrades in arms. You should also know about this. Sadness and worries come when the body is already taken away and we also leave the positions. You remember a lot of moments with this person, you can shed a tear, but in the trenches, nothing like that can happen. You can't give in to emotions. When the battle is going on, it's worth understanding that there is no need to be afraid. Everyone has fear, but there is no need to be afraid. Because when you are afraid, you can bring the enemy closer to you. He shoots aimlessly and he wants the person across from him to be afraid. If fear takes hold of you, that's all. You can twist, fall, not return fire to the enemy's fire. On the contrary, you have to take the situation into your own hands. It doesn't matter if you're scared or not, you have to create a fire advantage. If you have a fire advantage and the support of artillery and mortars, then the enemy will not approach. He will not be able to do anything. He will simply shoot aimlessly at the bushes and trees. And he is unlikely to hit you if you act effectively and as a joint team with the unit you are standing with. When our group advanced together with our comrades from the Armed Forces Brigade, we thought that there was someone in the dugouts and in the trenches, that someone was standing on post. That's how we do it. That is, it cannot happen that there is no one on the post. There should always be someone on duty. When we approached their shelter, we heard someone snoring. Someone was resting in the dugout. There was no one on duty. We went it and looked. There were 2 occupants sleeping. We woke them up, showed them a grenade, said, "Glory to Ukraine, let's go." They got up, collected all their things and left. They wanted to come to Ukraine to rest, but they didn't succeed. There was such a story. Comrades from the armed forces went with us to storm the enemy's firing positions. But then they got into position, the assault was called off. It was necessary to go back, but take the Tong with us. Tong is an enemy from whom you can learn information, a nasty one who was in the trenches. It was necessary to take him prisoner, to learn as much information as possible about the enemy's plans. When we were already returning with the war prisoners, the enemy escaped from the hands of our comrades from the armed forces and ran to the landing, where everything was mined. so he blew himself up and thus wounded our 2 soldiers. The second one's legs were badly cut and we had to evacuate him to the hospital. During the evacuation, the enemy raised his bird in the sky, the bird is a quadricopter, and followed us and fired at us with an 82mm mortar. As we were leaving, he opened fire on us, but we were lucky that the fire was off target. 2 of our groups came forward to save a comrade in arms. The evacuation was successful. The first group successfully entered the position in the afternoon. The second group, when it was already returning, was literally 100 meters short, and a mine hit the column. 2 were wounded. It was scary because it hurt our comrades in arms, with whom we had become very good friends. My decision to join the army to defend our country in the east and in any other corner of Ukraine was made because my parents handed me a complete territorial state. It has its own borders, its own language, faith and laws, and I have to pass this on to my children. That is, so that they do not fight in the future. The very first time I helped the army was in 2014, when the war began. Well, the offensive from Russia in the east of Ukraine, where active hostilities were taking place. We helped everything we could, because they knew that if our guys there could not stop them, the Russians would come to our homes. And then we can lose our friends, relatives, children, parents. I will last long enough, because I have young blood in me. It's necessary to understand that I will stand here until the end. Either they have us or we have them. Well, of course, we are them. Everything goes to that. They retreat little by little and realize that they didn't need this war. During the battle, the most important thing is a well thought out and formulated tactic. We have it in our team. A task arrives, it's first considered, priority goals are set. First we destroy specific targets, and then we go into battle. It's promising in my brigade that everyone here operates according to NATO standards, and that is very cool. Because first the plan of offensive or defensive actions is thought out by the immediate commanders, agreed by the higher command, and then it's implemented by the soldiers. Everything is done quickly, under cover, and you are not afraid that you will be thrown. This is very cool. I dream that the war will end as soon as possible.